Hello and welcome to another episode of Swim Sets by the Pool. My name is Nathan Cohen. I'm a professional triathlete, and with me, as always, Greg Harper.
What's up, y'all? I am a professional triathlete as well. Some triathlete called me an ex-pro swimmer the other day, so I was very flattered. So we're going to go with that I also was a pro swimmer. And yeah, we're really passionate about helping people get better at swimming. And yeah, what do you got for us today, Nate? What's going on?
Yeah, well, first off, I just want to say if you are here and you're like, how did I end up listening to this podcast? Thank you so much. You're here for a free swim workout because that is what me and Greg provide. We give you a free swim workout, something we found by the pool. We talk about it, maybe make some changes, make it a little bit better for the people. And we also give some quick tips and hopefully stuff that helps you swim better. So that's what this podcast is all about. Just trying to help people get a little more comfy in the water and fast because fast is fun.
Comfy, dude. I like that. You got to be comfy in the water if you want to
Yeah.
succeed. So I like that a lot.
Yeah. And speaking of
Um,
fast is
quick
fun,
tip.
yeah, that's my quick tip is
Oh.
have fun. I was at the pool the other day and I saw this guy who was not swimming any intervals. It was just vibes. He had a dive mask on, he had diving fins, and he was friggin' spinning like a top at the bottom of the pool in Santa Barbara. And he was
Oh,
just
wow.
he was just vibing. Just imagine a large adult man on his head upside down in the water, just spinning in circles. Just like
And he no oxygen tank. Just go down
no
there, do his
oxygen
thing.
tank. Yeah, just doing his thing. And he would just like spin around. He was just like he was, and this is a 50-meter pool. He was in the easy lane, like the slow lane, so he wasn't bothering anyone. But it was all vibes, dude. And that's sometimes what you got to do. Drop the interval, just swim on vibes and have fun. Do something a little weird.
Yeah, and I think that's so important to, get even on a more serious note. If you dread going to the pool, you will not improve. And I don't care what type of work you're doing. Like,
That's
if you're
facts.
not enjoying it, you will not improve. So whatever you need to do to get in that mindset where you enjoy going to the pool, you have to do, or just give up. But seriously, like you have to
Yeah.
enjoy it. How, find friends, join a group, get a coach, whatever it is to make you enjoy it. Take the pressure off. Don't do
hmm
intervals, whatever it is. That's number one. So actually, that's probably the most important thing we've ever said on this podcast, Nate, to
Yeah.
be honest.
Quick tip, have fun. And I'm going to give you a fun little story too. When I was really trying to get better at swimming, I swam with a master's group and it was at like 5:30 in the morning and okay, it's Southern California, so it wasn't that cold, but this is an outdoor pool and it felt pretty cold sometimes. So what
It's
I
like
would do,
65.
yeah, it's like 65 degrees outside. It was cold for us. But one of my buddies, what we would do before we got in is we would make a funny little like Instagram short video. And it was just like us doing something stupid and then like jumping into the pool. And like that's how we got ourselves in the pool like every morning for swim. And we got really creative. We would like grab those plastic deck chairs and like jump in the pool sitting on them and like stupid stuff like
Hell
that.
yeah. Dude, that's
And
what swimming is, and that's why it's fun too. I mean,
yeah.
growing up, I mean, the shenanigans you get into, like to keep yourself occupied in a 2 hour swim
hmm
practice. I mean, but that's why it was so fun. And then we all got good, and that's
Yeah.
crazy. They just really go hand in hand.
Yeah. So that's a quick tip of the day. And jumping into this set is actually perfect because the set that I where I got this is from my first ever triathlon coach, Brittany. And she may have gotten this swim set from Barb Lindquist, Olympic triathlete. So she said I probably need to give her some credit for this. But yeah, it's a pretty advanced swim set. We're going to dive right into it. It's 500 choice warm up swim, and then 100 paddles, 300 a mix of one arm stroke. So probably like 51 arm, 50 swimming or 25 one arm, something like that, and then
Hmm.
100 swim. So that's a 1,000 warm up.
Well, in the
Yeah.
variables on that.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Scribbled
Oh yeah,
scribbled
at the end, and
variables.
then yeah, and then
Yeah.
825s at the end variables, which
Yeah.
is half easy, half fast, half easy, all all fast. That makes 4 25s, and then it was 2 rounds.
Yeah.
So that's the end of the warm up, right?
So that's like 1200 warm up. And yeah, that's a solid warm up. 1200 meters or yards. But yeah. What are your thoughts on that warm up, Greg?
Yeah, I like it a lot. It's like a bit of mix. I think one arm is important. Um, it's really hard and challenging. And just one thing on that, when you do one arm, it's better to have your other arm at your side and fully rotate. Like you need to get your shoulder underneath you and then your other shoulder underneath. It's like it's literally like the same swimming motion just with one arm. You can't just swim flat and like pull your arm and like try to go get fast, go through it, or
Hmm.
else there's no point. Um, yeah, and then 825's variables at the end. I mean, get your heart rate and stuff, and like it's 1200, you get your heart rate up. It's a bit of mix of stuff. Like you're kind of ready to go after this. So in terms of a preset and stuff, maybe not even necessary. Like you probably just, I mean, like they do, they kind of just get into the main set because it's a complete warm up. And if you want to use paddles or not, kind of personal preference. Like maybe you want to throw in some backstroke or something. But yeah, I'd say it's pretty complete in my end.
Yeah, and I just gotta say a note on warming up in general. Um, I've had my best triathlon swims with a really long swim warm up beforehand. Um, and you need to give yourself time. I feel like some people do. I mean, if you're like Jamie Riddle, you don't need to warm up at all. You just can jump in and you're fast. I did a, anyways, I did a race with him. He didn't swim for like a week before this race because he like slammed his hand in like a car door or something. And he's just like, yeah, it's fine. And so the first time he swam was like when the gun went off and he was first out of the water. Anyways, yeah,
But he's young though, guys. He's
yeah.
24 or
He's
something.
he's
So, you
made
know,
he's
don't take
made
the
a
advice.
he's made of rubber and magic. But anyways,
And grew up in the ocean. But yeah, he's a G.
yeah. So for me, I like a really long, or not really long, but like a solid warm up. You know, you want to feel the water, you want to get in, you want to get your arms spinning around. Um, Yeah, so I think this is really good. And variables are a staple too. She throws those in at the very end. I know a lot of different swim coaches I've swam with, and many of them use variables pretty similar to this. Yeah. Half easy, half fast, half easy, and then an easy 25 and then a fast 25 staple.
Yeah. Well, and I like what you said about the long warm up because I was kind of the same way. And I realized when I was 15 or 16 or so, like when I did these really nice long warm ups for races, I was always ready. Um, and the times where I like, maybe got distracted in the warm up pool, like hanging with my friend, like then I swam worse. And it's like, it's very correlated. So if you're a triathlete and there's like a swim warm up, like get in right when it starts and get out the last possible second because they're usually giving you 5 or 10 minutes, and 10 minutes is not enough. So you have to get in the most as you possibly can. So I think yeah, I think those are wise words. And like just like swinging your arms around outside the water and stuff, like there's no out of water warm up that just really, I mean, you can use bands and stuff, but if you can, you got to swim. You got to swim warm up.
Hmm. Yeah, for sure. So yeah, I don't know. Would you change anything about this warm up?
I mean, it is 500 choice, so you can mix in non-free there. So yeah, it's pretty good for me. Any tweaks on your end?
No, I think it's pretty solid. I don't know. It's a little bit of everything, you know? And that 500 choice, it's like it's your choice. Like you could do a little kick in there, you could do some backstroke, throw in some butterfly if you're feeling crazy. Just like
So crazy. Yeah, no,
yeah.
yeah, great point. I think it's 1200. You got choice, you got a little stuff, mix it up, ready to
Hmm.
go.
Yeah, sweet. So let's keep it like that. Okay. Greg, I'll let you take this main set. Just bear with us. It's a little bit if you're a newer swimmer, this is definitely a little bit more of an advanced set. So it's a little bit complicated, but stick with us. Hear it out.
It's basically 6 parts. Okay, so the first part is a 500, and you get your time at the 400, and you remember that time. Then you go into 5 ones on different intervals, and then you go into a 400 where that 400 is faster than the 400 split you got on the previous 500. And you also get your time on the 300 because they'll use that later. So then you go back into a shorter set, 4 125s, and these are swim with different intervals. So then it's a 300, and on that 300 is faster than that 300 split you got on that previous 400. Um, Yeah, then it's 20 seconds rest, and then you finish with two 250s. So the first distance gets shorter. It goes 5 4 3. In the in-betweens, you go 5 1s, 4 125s, and 250s. So that distance increases.
No,
Um,
they're all 500s, I think, right?
well, sorry, the length of the interval
Yeah, yeah,
increases,
yeah.
not the yardage. Yeah,
Yeah.
so yeah, I really like the flow. It's kind of engaging. I've done sets like this, and it requires everyone to kind of like really think about their paces and yeah, kind of being aware of their energy. Like if you blow that 500 too fast, then maybe you can't back it up as you go. So I mean, we could get into the intervals. It looks a little bit specific for the crew.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, initial thoughts, like I really like the flow and I like how it's going to keep people kind of mentally engaged through the workout.
Yeah, I think taking your time at any interval, so like for this workout, it's the 400. That's a great way to practice sighting, you know? If you can just like
Mm.
pick your eyes up and look at the clock while you're swimming right before you do that flip turn and just add like 2 seconds or whatever. Um, that's a
No, hopefully
really,
not that much. You got to work on
or
your
like,
sighting if you're
I
adding
mean,
2 seconds.
it depends on how far out you're going and how slow your flip turns are. Because some people's flip turns, man, they're
Yeah.
not.
Or even right to the side too. Maybe
Yeah,
the
yeah,
clock's on the side,
true.
right? Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
that's a good, no, but yeah, great skill. I think it's a good point.
Yeah, I'm honestly really spoiled at our pool. We have four giant digital clocks like on each like side of the pool. So you have like no excuse not to like know what your time is at all times. Um but yeah. So yeah, I think that's really cool. I like the 5 by 1 and then it says odds are on the 120, evens are on the 115. So that's a pretty tight interval for some people. I think you can just kind of extend that out to whatever you're swimming. So I think it would probably be about like 10 to 15 seconds rest for those 100s.
Yeah, I would say it's like a base interval and then like a base a little faster. Like the intervals aren't really meant to like press you probably, but
Hmm.
just like keep you like an active recovery, but like, like steady swimming in between. It's not completely easy, but it's not hard. It's just kind of like, so this set is like aerobically challenging. You're kind of swimming steady or harder the whole
Hmm.
time rather than like going too fast or too slow. So that's kind of
Yeah.
how I interpret it.
Yeah, for sure. I think this would be a good 70.3 workout for someone who's kind of prepping for that because it's 2,700 in total. Um,
Hmm.
and you have to, if you do the set the right way, you have to go a little bit faster on those 5 4s and then threes, you know? So like the 500, it's like a solid time, but you have to swim a little bit faster on the four, a little bit faster on the three. I think that's something that's really good. And it, like you said, it keeps you engaged and it keeps you swimming solid throughout the whole set. And you don't just like get bored and like, oh, I'm just gonna whatever this 300, you know? Because sometimes when it's just like 300 aerobic or 300 solid, it's like you kind of get a little lazy with that. But with like the intention of, okay, I'm getting my time and it needs to be a little bit faster than the last one, I think that keeps you like locked in.
100%. Yeah, and that's veteran coaching because coaches know that. Like you give out long intervals and things like this, which is why I'm not like a massive fan of like, hey, do three 800s. It's like, okay, if it's 200s, you get faster with it. Like you have to keep these people engaged. And I think, yeah, I think that's really, really important. And you kind of brought out 70.3. If I were going to give this as like a 70.3 prep set, it's like maybe the 500 is slightly slower than race pace. And then when you get to the 400, you're kind of at race pace. And then when you're towards the end of 300, you want to be a little bit better.
Hmm.
Right. So it's kind of like you kind of work through those zones. And that's kind of, because it's, yeah, that's how I would structure that if I was going to give to someone. And workouts like that are great. Like you're not going to end dead, but you just like accumulated some like solid swimming and you can probably back it up for another session or something that you have later in the day or the next day and feel pretty good.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point too, because I did, there's this open water swim series in Santa Barbara that I do in the summer, and it's a mile swim in the ocean with like 200 people. And I was out there around the first buoy with this former UCSB college swimmer, and I was just hanging on his feet for like dear life. I actually had to put in like a 100-meter surge to like get on his feet after the first buoy. Um, But then we got like to the halfway point and like he turns around the buoy and does backstroke. And I'm like, shoot, I don't want to take the lead. So like I start doing backstroke next to him. And we're just like chilling. And there's
What?
like no one behind us.
That's ridiculous.
There's like nobody like close behind us. So we're just like doing backstroke next to each other. And I'm like, "Ah, fine, I guess since I was on his feet the whole time. Then I go to the front and like he gets on my feet. And then he kind of like veers off to the side a little bit. Because I breathed to the right. So I was like kind of keeping an eye on him. And we were swimming about the same pace. And I'm like, oh shoot, we're like getting close to the end and like he's speeding up. And like I want to get to that last buoy because it's essentially like 50 meters to the end after that last buoy. And I like didn't back my sprint that day, so I'm like, I gotta get there before him. So that last like 300 of the swim, I just like dug so deep to like get to that buoy. And sometimes that's how it is in races, is like if you're trying to stay with the pack or like be in it, you have to like have something left at the end. So like this would be a good set to practice that.
Yeah, that's a great point. And like a little bit of changing of gears or yeah, just having something. Yeah, it's a really good point. And it can be that last 4 minutes. And if you just push a little bit, you might gain 30 seconds because you stay with the pack or something, right? It's like
Mhm.
a little bit extra energy sometimes can be more time rather than if you were by yourself. So I think yeah, that's smart.
Yeah. So honestly, there isn't anything I would really change about this main set. I would just say if you're not swimming like on the 115 interval, which is pretty fast for 100s, um, I would say just try and do like 10 to 15 seconds rest, but like pick an interval because I think that's really
Yeah.
cool to do. Is like even if you have to do like 140 and 145 or like 155 in 2 minutes, whatever, wherever you're at, I think that's really good to be able to do to keep yourself locked in and like engaged in that set. But like I said before, it is a little bit more like advanced and you do have to like use a lot of focus to do that.
Yeah. And when you look at the set, this is for someone looking at a clock and you're thinking about it, right? So it kind of gets
Hmm.
back to the whole like watch thing. I mean, like
Oh man.
you're trying to do this all on your watch or whatever it is. It's like this is how sets are supposed to be written, and you're supposed to use the clock and you're supposed to think about it. Like swimming can get boring. Sometimes you're thinking the entire rep, like, when am I leaving for my next one? Like, what else you got to think about? So, um, yeah, I think it's a great set for clock management. And if you don't think that clock management is an important skill, then you're wrong. That's it. You're wrong.
Oh man. Hey, we're not on the hot takes yet. We
Oh,
still have,
shoot. Extra hot
we,
take.
we,
Extra hot take.
we still have to do the warm down. Warm down is
Yeah.
it says 100. Do you feel like that's enough warm down? I would do a little more. Maybe 200.
Yeah. I think 200 is probably good.
Yeah.
I feel like, oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. I remember my actual hot take. Sorry. I was like spacing out on that. Yeah.
Okay.
So, in terms of the warm down, yeah, make it a 200. And one thing in that last, there's two 250s at the end. Like maybe throw on paddles if you want.
Mm,
To finish the
okay.
set. Like if that's something you wanted to do, I would say, yeah, or polling.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, solid. Is that like a 4K set?
Yeah, I think it's like
That's
41 or something. Yeah.
dude, 4K. That's my bread and butter. So
Yeah, dude.
yeah.
I
Um,
swam 3.9 today.
I like
Almost
that's
4.
a pro move though, because we don't have to chase arbitrary numbers. 3.9 is just as good as 4. You're good
No,
to
no,
go.
I just had a meeting I
Uh,
had to get to. I had to get out of the pool.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. All right, so are we on the hot take?
Yeah, we're going on to a hot take. Everyone buckle up for this.
Buckle up. I don't want to be the ones to break it to you because you probably see it on the internet and maybe some triathletes promoting it, but smart goggles are a scam. Okay? They're a scam. That's it. That's the hot take. Don't get tricked.
Okay, thanks for listening to this episode, you guys. As always, we'll put the full set in the show notes. And yeah, listen to another episode if you want another free swim workout and share with one of your swim buddies. Peace.
Thanks. Thanks, brother.